Let's go to the Dairy Max Built by Nature hotline and bring in the head coach of the 4-1 San Antonio Harlan Hawks, Coach Eddie Salas. Coach, how are things in beautiful San Antonio, Texas?
Oh, it's going great. Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Well, listen, you guys are off to a fantastic start here. Your first varsity season, the newest program down there in San Antonio. I'm really interested in hearing from you how, what the process of building this program has been like. You guys played a sub-varsity schedule last year. Now you're off to a 4-1 record this year. What has this process been like building this Hawks program?
I'll tell you what, it's been a lot of fun just trying to, kind of come in here and build culture. I thought it was a great deal for us to start on a JV schedule with some young kids and being able to kind of build that foundation early on. And so, last year we got to play some games and we try to make them all as varsity-like as possible. I think that's, part of the setting of playing in stadiums and our band and our cheer and spirit groups and all that good stuff. I think that was part of the process of just growing where our kids are not shell-shocked from the fans and all the thing that goes around a varsity game. And so that was one of the starts there, and as well as just trying to play good JV teams that would help us get ready.
Teams generally don't start off this good whenever they're playing their first varsity season. You guys are off to a 4-1 start. Has anything about this season surprised you?
Well, I think everything about the season has surprised me. You get in and you could play every JV game you want and feel good about certain things. But, last year we won 3 games as a JV team. We were 3-7. And I think the off season, we really needed a great off season, and we had one. And then going into the summer, the kids really bought in and did a lot of the 7-on-7 that, it helped us build teams. And but getting into the season, you kind of walk into the first game against Holmes High School and go, that's a varsity team you're facing with experienced kids and a lot of seniors and returners, and they've been there before, and you don't know what to expect from yours. And so, there's been a lot of teaching moments, but our kids have stepped up to the challenge and they won that first one, and I think that kind of built momentum for us.
We're talking with Eddie Salas, the head coach at San Antonio Harlan here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, #TF Today. Coach, you mentioned that season opener against Holmes, and you are intimately familiar with that program. That's the place you coached before coming over to Harlan. I'm really interested to take you back to week 1. What was that like? What were your emotions going into that game? Obviously so much going on with your current program, but the history you have over there with the Huskies.
Absolutely. I think we did a great job being at Holmes and establishing a good culture and program there. And so I knew coming into this game that they had some great kids. They had a great running back that was, started for us when he was a sophomore and a receiver. And so kind of going back, you get mixed emotions. Obviously you're playing your old team and your old kids, and they're excited on that side of town, and our kids are excited because it's the first one. And so just trying to keep everything, in the right perspective and trying to keep, our coaching staff and our kids focus on, hey, our job is to play one play at a time and don't worry about that, And so I think that's what we did, and it kind of helped us, and our kids came out on top of that game, and I think ever since that game, they felt like they can be the varsity team.
You guys, when you talk about programs getting their start and starting from scratch, the thing that we hear from coaches all the time is the toughest thing to kind of get going is the defense. The defense is the thing that kind of lags behind. That has not been the case for you guys. The defense has really come out firing, in the early going. What do you think has been the key to your defensive success so far?
I think a lot of it, of course, our defensive coordinator that I have, Coach Padilla, we've been together for a long time, almost probably 10 years working together from Bernie ISD, Bernie High School, Bernie Champion, and then he was my defensive coordinator at Holmes. And so bringing him in here, I think he had a good vision for our program. But then it starts with the kids, and we got to figure out who are our kids. In that JV season that we had, I think we were able to really balance our team out. and really, sit there and draft kids almost, and say who's going to produce on offense, who's going to produce on defense. And I think we had a pretty good draft there for ourselves here as a coaching staff. And we try to, get our top 25 athletes and say they got to be on the field, whether it's offense or defense, and built from there. And, a few more kids like Sam Carter, who was a defensive end. He's a defensive end for us. He's fast. He's quick. He takes half the field away sometimes. It's hard to run around the perimeter from him, And then you have Zane Zavoda at safety, who's a junior and looks great and plays well. I think he's got almost 60 tackles already this season. So, the kids make a big difference, some of these kids.
You mentioned Sam Carter, and I want to ask you specifically about him. This is a kid who, on a team that is almost entirely comprised of juniors and sophomores, a lot of young guys. Here is one of the rare seniors. How important is he? Obviously, he's a tremendous player, and I know that the numbers speak for themselves as far as his impact on the game. But what does he bring to the team as far as leadership is concerned?
He is definitely the heartbeat of our team when it comes to our success. I think, all spring, all off season, he was the vocal leader of our team. He's the spiritual leader of our team. Everything. He's so passionate. He's a very smart kid. He's like number 11 in his class of 390, and it just everything about him is positive. And him and I've had a lot of conversations in my office about leading and doing certain things, and he just runs with it. We don't have to coach him up so much. He just goes and people follow him. I think he's just a magnet for everybody, including us coaches. We love coaching him, and being a senior. And the thing with him is he's a senior, but he's never played varsity.
That's pretty rare. We're talking with Eddie Salas of San Antonio Harlan, the 5-1 Hawks here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation. #TF today. Coach, offensively, it's been a number of youngsters, but the guy who stands out to me is your quarterback who, boy, what a name for a quarterback. Kannon Williams stepped up for you guys, and he's been really solid for you guys, kind of as a dual threat guy. For those who may not be familiar with your sophomore signal caller, what can you tell us about him?
Oh, Cannon's such a great kid. He's a coach's kid. His father's on our staff here. He coaches defense, and his mom is the head basketball coach of another school here in town at Burbank High School. And so he comes from that background of just knowing the business a little bit. And so, and it helps that he's 6'2", 200 pounds and has an arm, and so he's definitely growing still as a quarterback, and I'm just excited to see where he ends up at. He's a sophomore. He's got 2.5 more years with us here, and it's exciting to see it. He's very smart and reads well, and so we forget most of the time that he's a sophomore. We think he's a senior playing for us.
It's really fun to watch this program blossom and kind of get their legs underneath it. You guys are already you guys have never lost a district game. You should hang the banner right now because it's fantastic. You guys are undefeated, 2-0 in District 14-6 or 14-5A Division I play. You're enjoying your bye week. I'm interested. Kind of the first true bye week in program history. What are you guys looking to accomplish this week?
We went back and we try to look at everything we've done and clean things up for ourselves. We check as coaches, are we making things too complicated? What is it that we as coaches can do to help clean up some of these things for our kids? And some of it was changing the kids' state a little bit from such a grind to, hey, let's have some fun with our kids, And just yesterday, we went and had our middle school play here at our campus, and we had a picnic for our whole program, and had some hot dogs and chips and a drink and hung out, and I think that was good. It was just a time to relax after school and get away from the grind just for a few minutes.
It is. I know it's a grind, and the grind does not stop. Next week, after a bye week, you guys are hosting Eagle Pass Win in a kind of surging, surprising Eagle Pass Win squad this year. I know you're already preparing for those guys. Not going to ask you to give away your game plan quite yet, but when you look at what you're going to be up against next week against Win, what are you seeing from your perspective?
Well, they've been very successful in the past, and I just think Coach Salas has been around, does a great job with the kids, and just watching them a little bit, they have athletes on both sides of the ball. I think when you look at their quarterback and running back, they're great athletes and they can hurt you. And so, for us, you look at those things, but when we coach our kids, we try to focus more on just us. What is it that we need to do better? And so, I think when we take the focus away from the team and put it on us, it just helps us bring more perspective and kind of fine-tune our team a little bit more.
And, Coach, finally, I got to ask you, I want to take you back in time. Back in 2007, you were over there at Bernie High School, where you were the assistant softball coach on the 4A state champions for the Lady Greyhounds. So my question is, have you given any thought to maybe double dipping, doing a little bit of football and then maybe a little softball on the side? Have you thought about maybe picking up the glove again and taking over the softball program? I mean, you're having good success with the football team.
I haven't, but I could tell you this: that was a great group of young ladies, and I still enjoy walking out and watching our coaches coach our girls softball team and baseball. And I can tell you one of the things that you learn as a male coaching females is the girls are the hardest working people on campus. They'll outwork the boys. They'll run through a wall. And I always tell the boys, like, we had strength conditioning camp over the summer, and all our male coaches go, I can't believe the girls work harder. And I'm like, I can.
Well, it's been a successful start for the Harlan Hawks and their coach Eddie Salas. Coach, really appreciate your time. Congratulations again on the big win last week against Harlandale and the success so far, and best of luck the rest of the way.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
There he goes, Eddie Salas, the head coach. The 5-1 Harlan Hawks. Another program in its infancy that's having big success right off the bat.
Yeah, there was. He used to scrimmage San Marcos quite a bit at Holmes every year when I covered San Marcos, and his hire is kind of a testament to districts knowing what they have in terms of a program builder.
You're exactly right.
Respect for what he's doing, because you look at his resume at Holmes and it's like the win percentage doesn't jump off the table, but you look at what he was building there, because I think his first 2 years they were winless, and then 2015 I think they won 4 games, and then 2016 they won 5. He was building something from really the ground up there and having a respectable reputation as someone who can establish that repertoire with the kids and really the community. Yeah,
you're 100% right. His record didn't jump off the page at you at Holmes, but at the same time, like credit Northside ISD for understanding what they've got in him and the kind of guy that it takes to build a program. And Eddie Salas, obviously,
look, that's a guy that can build a program that can get kids to trust him. And look, they're off to a great start already.
And it speaks for itself at this point. So we appreciate Coach Eddie Salas hopping on with us.